Let me be real and direct about this, because too many folks gloss over it or pretend history doesn't matter when it absolutely does and shapes how countries see America right now. Yes, some real tensions between the United States and other nations come straight from past actions, conflicts, interventions, and policies that hit hard and left lasting scars on governments and everyday people who still remember. Here are 3 big historical examples that keep getting brought up when people talk about why certain countries or populations hold resentment toward the U.S., and these aren't made-up stories. They're documented facts that changed lives and borders forever. First, the 1953 coup in Iran stands out as a massive sore point. Back in 1953, the intelligence agencies of the United States and the United Kingdom teamed up to overthrow Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. Why? Because he nationalized Iran's oil industry, which threatened big Western oil companies and their profits. The coup succeeded. They put the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi back in full power with heavy Western backing, and he ruled for decades with an iron fist, often using secret police and repression. To millions in Iran, this wasn't just politics, it was straight-up foreign meddling that crushed their democracy and handed control back to a monarch friendly to the West. That bitterness built up over years and played a huge part in fueling the anger that exploded during the 1979 Iranian Revolution, when the Shah was finally ousted and anti-American feelings became a core part of the new government's identity. People there still point to 1953 as proof that the U.S. would interfere whenever it suited its interests, no matter the cost to local sovereignty. Second, the Vietnam War from 1955 to 1975 is another wound that never fully healed in Southeast Asia. The United States jumped deep into that conflict to block the spread of communism during the height of the Cold War, dropping more bombs than in all of World War II, fighting a brutal ground war and backing South Vietnam against the North. The destruction was staggering. Millions of Vietnamese civilians lost their lives, entire villages were wiped out, and the U.S. used deadly chemicals like Agent Orange that poisoned land, water, and people, causing birth defects, cancers, and environmental ruin that still affects generations today. Neighboring Cambodia and Laos got dragged in too, with massive bombing campaigns and fallout that helped destabilize the region even more. For people in Vietnam and beyond, this wasn't just a war, it was overwhelming foreign invasion and suffering that left deep trauma and distrust of American military power. Even now, when the U.S. talks about intervening somewhere else, voices from that era remind everyone of the human cost and question the motives. Third, the 2003 Iraq War hits close for many in the Middle East and beyond. The United States, led by President George W. Bush and with allies like the United Kingdom, launched an invasion claiming Saddam Hussein's government had weapons of mass destruction that posed an immediate threat. Those weapons were never found. It turned out the intelligence was flawed or exaggerated. The regime fell quickly, but what followed was chaos, years of insurgency, sectarian violence, terrorist groups rising up, and hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians killed or displaced in the fighting. The country fractured, instability spread, and many saw it as an unjustified war based on bad reasons that wrecked lives for no real gain. Around the world, people criticized it harshly, calling it imperial overreach, and it damaged America's credibility when it comes to claims about promoting democracy or security. The bigger picture here is that international views of the United States are never simple. Some nations stay close allies, trade partners, and friends, while others carry these memories of coups, wars, occupations, or heavy-handed policies that feel like domination rather than help. History like this doesn't fade fast. It gets passed down through families, schools, and leaders, shaping trust, alliances, and yes, resentment in global politics for generations. Ignoring it or whitewashing it doesn't make it go away. Facing it head-on is the only way to understand why the world reacts the way it does sometimes. In short, yes, the past matters a lot, and it keeps influencing how nations look at each other today, no denying that. Love always, Maria D.C. Santiago.